what do you explain us now?
Yes. So now that we have our business logic with the reversing, maybe it's time to add a dependency. And one dependency you always need, I guess, is a support for coroutines. I'm sure if you would do Kotlin nowadays without coroutines.
No.
So let's add this. Maybe close this a bit more to know better where we are. And stop the simulator. Don't need it for now. This. So in the shared, don't click that much. It's it's confusing me.
Sorry.
Okay, no problem. In the shared part, in the Gradle file there,
yeah,
I already showed that there's already a dependency for the test target, and the coroutine dependency is also supports also multi-platform. So the only thing we need to do to add it to all 3 source sets or more, but we just have these 3 is to define it in the common main. So all others get it from there. And I'm super proud that I now know how to define a dependency in Gradle.
Yeah.
So you put that there, and then you do the implementation thing, and I copy the. What is a good way to find those things?
The dependencies?
Yeah, you need to know them, right?
Google.
Yeah. Good. That's what I also did here. So this is the Kotlin X framework from JetBrains for coroutines core. And by doing that, the project now supports coroutines.
Nice.
That's already it. And the other thing I want to add is Ktor. Ktor is used for HTTP client, and I think it can also be used as a server. You can write a server with it, or the counterpart the client, and we will use the client here. I'm not sure if we will have time to actually code something with it, but we will select it. So this also also supports multi-platform. Let me copy that over. Prepare that, because you need multiple ones. So there are also better ways of managing the version that I don't have fully discovered yet. So would be interesting for stream for me to watch and then see how that works. For now, I will do it that way. It's also how they did it in the example to keep it simple. So you need the Ktor client core, which does most of the networking part. And then you need this content negotiation and serialization thing to add the JSON parsing and the converting into models and so on. To make the serialization work, you see it's already this serialization Kotlin X JSON thing. If I would run it now, I think it would not compile or complain. So what you need is a plugin for the serialization that the compiler knows how to create those. So you need this plugin for this part. And now with that, it's almost set up, but the HTTP client needs platform-specific implementations, because the networking calls are done differently in Android and in iOS. And at some point, it needs to execute the native
some real network request.
Exactly. And so for that, we need for the Android main dependency. It's so big. Just this one. So it's again the same prefix, and then it's just called Android. There's also, is it like OK HTTP or something? Something like this. So it's also another option you can
Okay, yeah. Ktor has different clients that you can use with it.
And so it depends, I guess, on what you prefer. Or so, and for the iOS part, iOS main, it needs the Darwin version of this.
Okay.
I think this also works for Mac and WatchOS, maybe. I don't know. No, I'm not sure. But so for iOS, you need that.
Yeah.
And so this makes sure that the actual network requests are then can be performed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So as an now it's important to do this. I learned.
Yeah.
So that Gradle downloads now the other dependencies.
Yeah, and that Android Studio checks the dependencies, indexes them, and then can give you code support.
Exactly. So when this is done, I think this also takes longer if you do it the first time. Since I did it already, it was already there. Okay, so now we're good here. And what I want to do, again, following the Kotlin example here, is to add a new, they added here, I don't know why, but I just follow that, a new class, which will be our DTO, basically. So the API we want to use is the SpaceX API, which gives the previous launches, maybe quite up to date with yesterday's test flight.
RUD.
Yeah. So I looked if the API is also returning that one, but the data somehow stops somewhere in October 22 or so. So I'm not sure if they stop maintaining that API. But anyway, we need a new file. Call it rocket. Should I do class? Maybe better.
Yeah. Kotlin class.
Yeah. Call it rocket.
I guess you can even make it a data class.
Yeah. This.
What? Why is it so small?
The font?
Yeah.
Because the other one is super big.
But
I can.
Okay.
I can also increase it here more.
Just a bit. In contrast to the other one, it was now a bit shocking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So first thing we need is add a serializable annotation. Thank you. So that Kotlin knows that this is a DTO basically.
Yeah.
And then I just copy over because I don't want to type all this. So we could look, or maybe I have it. Yeah, I have it prepared. So this is the API that will be called.
Font size. Control plus.
So it's like API, SpaceX data, launches, and then you get a huge JSON, and each has like, it references other endpoints that you can call to get the rocket, and there's like launch pad somewhere and so on. When it was even the static fire test, but then when it launched, what the name was.
Nice.
So all this information, and so these keys is what is used then here in this. Let's import that in this serial name.
Yeah, the name in the JSON basically.
Exactly, and then you have here your property names, and that's already it. That you don't have to specify all of them. We will configure to allow that, and it's a super simple example. So you could add more and different and put it in a package and so on, but we'll not focus on that one now. And then the next thing we also will just reuse this greeting that we already have. We need the HTTP client that we want to use to make the call. Again, this is the example setup to have it like easy. You would structure it differently in a real project.
Yeah.
Use dependency injection and so on. Here we will just quickly hack it here in, let's say. You need the HTTP client. This one comes from Ktor.
Okay.
So dependency, we just linked the HTTP client. And then we do some magic. Let me copy that in. Yeah. So why? So it's so smart.
Yeah.
Or Android Studio. Why can it not take? I pasted code. Just import everything you find.
Sometimes it does. When you paste it from an IntelliJ into another IntelliJ, then it does it. But I guess because you pasted it from the browser, it cannot, but it should be able to. I mean,
maybe
that's annoying.
So what it does, it puts this content aggregation thing that we also added as a dependency.
Yeah.
To do the magic, basically, to pass a JSON, convert it into an object, and so on. And here we define how the JSON should be treated. Pretty print. I'm not sure if this is when we sending a request. I guess it will format it, and then that it is not so strict. That it don't break that easily, and we ignore the unknown keys that we don't have to specify everything. And now to call it, we just, let's say, have to call it like HTTP client get, and then the URL we want to get. Why is it red? I don't know. Copy that over again. So this URL I also used in Postman. Okay, needs that. And then we take the body from that. We now need to specify the type it should convert to, but we can also just I guess I'm not sure what I prefer. I think Kotlin also has type inference, right?
Yeah.
So in the example, they specified the type here. Maybe I like it.
You can also do that, yeah. So it depends if you have like a function that directly returns that.
Yeah.
So then it could infer it from the return
here
type.
I need to specify it for sure somewhere.
Yeah.
Question was if it's better here or here.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Depends on what you prefer.
Yeah. Maybe no. Yeah. So that's the next thing we need. So this looks nice, but it doesn't work because it's a suspend function. A suspended function. So it's asynchronous. So it's not
blocking the thread
until it's there, and we have the result. So we need to make this also suspend.
Yeah.
Now we have the rocket, and I guess the body was also suspend function, so it's by both the red underline. And now let me copy this so that I don't have to write it. Just put this here. I forgot one line. Bring that over.
Get the latest launch.
So we just rockets. This gives me all of them, and I get the last one where the launch was successful. And then I use just the date from there. If I go back to my, I should name it KT, right? Or is it no? Not here.
No, it's not showing if it's the class inside.
So here it has the mission name, flight number, launch success, and the date.
Yeah.
And I just show the date. I could also put the name in. It doesn't really matter for this example. And then if I would generate it now again, use it in the app, it would not work anymore because it now generates differently with the suspend.
Yeah, you need to handle the suspend.
Made a breaking API change. One more thing that can be added to help, I guess, with the generation. I'm not sure if it's only needed for iOS. I don't think so. So there's this throws annotation.
Yeah.
And throws shows this, at least in the example. So I have not looked it up what it does for Android.
It's just a hint.
But I guess it's just a hint, and it allows on the iOS side to add the error handling.
Nice.
The one way of doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, so as you see, I don't need it to actually add any code in Android main or iOS main.
Yeah.
It was enough to just have the
dependencies.
specific drivers, they call it. Okay, so if I now build, it should fail because Android is not ready. Exactly. Says suspend function and cannot handle it. Since I'm not really an Android expert, let me copy this from the example. So it's the same basically, but what it does, it adds this launched effect thing. No, where is it?
What?
Yeah, maybe
Import.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really annoying. Okay.
So this creates this coroutine scope.
Yeah.
I'll stir it. What does it need? Another import. Another import. Yes. Okay. So I don't want to give you an Android tutorial because I have no clue. So that's why I'm like more or less skipping over that. But it creates this coroutine scope, so it's fine to call it inside.
Yeah. It allows you to run the coroutine.
Exactly. And then inside, so this view is the same still. It just adds this scope around it.
Yeah.
Okay, so if we run it now, it also builds still fast. And now we get permission denied. Because on Android, you need to say you're allowed to use the internet.
Yeah, you need to request it basically from Android.
I think I can do that.
Don't ask me if it's the right position, but
I think so.
Yeah.
So
nice.
Now we have our reversed platform style and then a nicely formatted day. Obviously, you can add like formatting and so on, but that's not the purpose. So now it did the network request using Ktor and the Android driver.
Yeah.
On the iOS side, bring up the iOS project and run it here. It takes a bit longer. I think maybe it forgot the Gradle runner. It needs to boot this up again. And then at some point, so you don't really see what's going on because it's in this run script phase. Yeah. Okay, now I need to go back, but in here it is like while it is doing the Gradle part, you don't see any progress. So you can look into the logs and then you see it, but in the IDE it's just the script phase that is running and it's just waiting for it to finish. Now it says you have this greeting thing and it's async and you cannot call it that way.
Okay.
If we quickly go into this definition again to check what it is doing. Where's the async part? Not sure if this is correct what it's showing here.
Greeting.
What?
In greeting?
Yeah, but it's just still
greet. Not async.
Let me clean quickly and try to build it again. It's also sometimes not updating it if the build is not successful. That might be it as well. So let me quickly do that so it can compile. and look again. Let's hope it's working now.
Oh, there's some new stuff.
Yeah, so this is now the DTO we added.
Okay. Yeah.
With these entries, you see it also creates some additional stuff which comes from the in this object from Objective-C, and it's not a struct what you would want it to be. And here you see, now that's the important part I wanted to show. It provides two different ways of calling the suspend function.
Okay.
One is a still experimental version,
Okay.
but the nicer one. So this is the Swift async await API.
Yeah.
So it says it's a function that is asynchronous and throws a potential error. And this it can add because we added the throws annotation. And the traditional classic way is to have like a completion handler. So you call, it's quite common on
Okay.
Before there was async await, it's not that bad. So you call that function, and at some point when it's done, get the completion handler back, and inside there you get the result. And the result is a string what the function would return otherwise. Yeah, so we have both options now, and it picked this one because this is the one that looks the same as the function before from the signature, but now it complains because it's async. Let's revert the changes here. We could, so in the example they have like they create a view model and stuff, and I want to work around that quickly.
Yeah.
So I add a quick state, which is the greet is a string. Oh, it's a string. We could give something like loading to have a default value. So with that, it should compile, but it's always loading. You can also use a nice preview when it loads. And what I do now is that I add a task here to use the async await thing, and now it says as size 15. So let's quickly change that to the latest. You don't need any legacy support. So now it tells me this call can throw. Maybe remove the let first. So I'm setting this property. So it can throw and is async. So first I've put the await. So on iOS or Swift you need to do a bit more to use the suspend function. You need to annotate it so that you see that this is suspend function.
Okay.
Async function. And it's still it's not happy because if it's a function that can throw, you also need to try it.
Okay.
That's the other keyword you need to put to have it there. Let's see what this complains about. Sendable, non-throwing. Yeah. So now I don't handle the error. I just if it happens, I just throw it. So I could either do this. This then means if it goes wrong, it would end up as an optional.
Okay.
The result, and it's just not set and ignores the error. But I defined it here as a string, so it's not working. The full option would be do. Why is it doubling this? And then do the stuff you want to do, and then catch. It's a try catch on Swift. Just do catch, and then I could provide like error and remove the question mark here. And now it should be happy. So it tries to do it. If it doesn't work, it puts error, and if works. It sets the state, and the state is used, and then it should go like this. So we had the quick loading, and now it loaded successfully and has also the long screen. And now we used even async await in Swift, like you would normally use it. And even without, like I said before, this plugin and dependency to make it even nicer a bit. The only downside is that this async await support is still not fully finished.
Yeah, experimental.
Yeah, the whole thing is in beta, but yeah.
Yeah.
So it works good.
That's really nice also to see the direction that they really want to support the normal native way.
Yeah. And the other way would also work. Then I would do create, and have the completion handler. Oh, is it? It has a new one. Not doing what I want. Greeting. Oh, they changed the maybe it's not experimental anymore. I haven't checked, because now if you want to use the completion handler version, they built in this warning telling you please use the other one.
That's nice.
Good. So I may need to check if it's now fully supported.
Cool.
But this would be the other way of doing it.
Yeah.
So you call it, and then you get the completion back, and then either the greeting is set or the error set.
Yeah, and then you can
then
react.
you would do something like
if error
greet. Yeah, you can do that, or assume if something went wrong, put the error there. I'm not sure why the syntax highlighting is not working, because that should work.
Okay.
Not sure. Yeah, so it has this warning now. So
deprecated.
Deprecated, yeah.
Nice.
I mean, it's not. Is it a deprecation node? Let's quickly check here again.
I mean, there should be something in the docs there.
No, it's not a node. It's just a node.
Maybe in the Objective-C part.
Most likely. Where is it coming from? It is also possible that this warning is added by Xcode.
Where they say, hey, don't use this completion handler stuff if you have async await.
Yeah. I guess that's more it.
That could be true.
Yeah. But still, and for this simple case, it works fine.
Nice. Really cool. So that's how you add Ktor and web calls with Kotlin Multiplatform.
Exactly. And from there on, you have a good starting point to, for example, put all your API calls and your models into the shared layer, and then just use it on iOS and Android. That's
already a big win for many apps.
Yeah.
To not have to do the API twice.
Yes. One recommendation I would do is not directly use the shared library in the app, but instead have a thin wrapper framework on the iOS side in between.
Okay.
To hide all this Kotlin int and stuff nonsense from the app. You don't need that, because you don't use it. And you can consider creating your models that you want to use as a Swift struct, and have a small mapper between the generated one and your copy of it, basically, and have like a mapper, one-to-one mapper, or maybe you can add like small adjustments that if you get a date string, you already add the date type or stuff like this, which is nicely supported on iOS, but not more, so that you don't have too much logic in there. And if you end up with more complicated things like these flows or sealed classes, which don't convert that nicely, it's also good to have this wrapper to use this dependency or other things to create your own API around it. Again, just a thin layer, just calling it, but with a nice Swift signature.
Yeah.
And then in your app, you just use that. Also, so we did this in our project, and it also had the fallback safety net in case the Kotlin multi-platform would be discontinued or whatever. You then already have your interface and your framework, and then you still need to code it, but you don't need to change your app.
Yeah.
You just need to fill what the framework did before with the iOS code, and don't have to redo everything. And it's already nicely separated.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Then I'm looking forward to more Kotlin multi-platform stuff in the future.
Yeah. So to be honest, there's not that much more to it. The rest is building a framework on Android.
Yeah, I mean, probably we could talk about like dependency injection.
Yeah, so there is
stuff that is interesting.
Assistance, dependency injection. So maybe there will be one follow up.
Yeah, but you're right. It's not that complicated that you need like 20 sessions to understand it.
Yeah,
that's the basic setup, and now you can get started.
They did a bit the Apple thing. It just works.
So that's why you like it.
Yeah, so it's a super cool thing to share code.
Yeah,
while still keeping the native app experience and also development experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. I really like it. Thanks for sharing. And since there are no questions from the chat, I would say see you next time.
See you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.